Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me for today's at-home Pilates hips workout. In today's routine, we are going to be mobilizing, stretching, and strengthening the hips. So quite often when we have tight hips, we think the answer is stretching, but that's only half of the problem. You also need to really make sure you are strengthening and mobilizing the hips. So if you're somebody who doesn't move enough, maybe you have a desk job, or even if you're somebody who moves a lot and you're involved in a lot of high impact movements like running, hips are a really important area of focus. We want to make sure they're stretched, they're mobile, they are strong so that you can reduce the risk of injury and feel great in the body. So in today's routine, I'm going to be using a block to help me sit up nice and tall when seated on the bum. If when you're seated on your bum on the mat, you have a lot of kind of curvature in the spine and you have trouble sitting up straight, I'd like you to grab a block or maybe a book or a folded up towel, whatever you have handy to just use as a prop below your bum. So I'm gonna place this off to the side and we're gonna start off with a bit of a warm up. So I'd like you to sit down on your mat with your legs splayed out in front. We're going to place our hands down behind us. Feet are flat on the floor, sitting up nice and tall. From here, I'm just going to let my right knee fall over to the right side and follow it inward with the left knee. Inhale, and as we exhale, we're going to come over to the other side. So bringing those knees down to the floor, taking a moment to stretch, and then coming over to the other side. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Bring those knees down to the floor or as close as they can go. You can be nice and leaned back for this movement. You don't need to be worried about sitting up nice and tall. We're just starting off gently, mobilizing those hips. Inhale and exhale. Good. Now you might hear some cracks and pops in this routine. That's totally normal. Just breathe through it and notice what's happening in the body. Good. Any points where it feels really tense or tight or stiff? Good. We'll just work through all of that. For 3 and 2 and last 1. Amazing work. Let's come back to center. From here, use your hands to help you coming into an all fours position. And we're gonna move into some hip circles. So I want your wrists below the shoulders, knees below the hips. Nice neutral spine. We're going to lift the right knee up and circle it down and back. Lifting up and circling down and back. So drawing really nice big circles in the air with that right knee. Circling backwards to begin with. Mobilizing the hip. You'll feel this in the glutes as well. And really exaggerate the movement. Breathe through it, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Nice work. Now we're going to switch directions. We're going to start circling forwards with that knee. This is one of my favorite warm-up exercises for those hips. Moving that leg bone around in the hip socket. Getting a nice stretch as we do so. Let's do 2 more in this direction. And 1. Nice work. Now we're going to switch sides. So circling backward with that left knee. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Drawing nice big circles in the air. Keeping those shoulders nice and level. Gently pushing the mat away so you're not collapsing in the shoulders as you work through these circles. Good. And then switch direction, moving forward with that knee. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth as you slowly work through this movement. Let's do 2 more. And last one. Amazing work. Now we're going to come into a crouched position. So I'm just going to lower my hands down to the floor. You can either have your hands flat or you can have your fingertips pressing down onto the mat. From here, I'm going to walk my right leg out to the side and just use my left elbow to push into the inside of the left leg to just open that up, really open up in the hip. Take a nice deep inhale here, and as you exhale, staying low, I'd like you to shift to the opposite side, really stretching down the leg, opening in the hip, using that right elbow to turn the knee slightly out. Inhale, and exhale, slow, good. Inhale, and exhale, good. Again, mobilizing the hips, stretching the legs here. Moving from side to side, keeping that bum low. Good, relax your shoulders down away from your ears. Nice work, breathe through it. Really sink down low. Keep those knees turned out so you're really opening in the hip. And we're going to do 1 more each side. Bring it over, hold, enjoy that stretch, and then bring it over to the other side and hold. Nice work. Come back to center. Gently lower your knees down to the floor. And we're going to come down onto the side body. So from this position, I would like you to support your head on your hand like so, or on your outstretched arm, whatever is more comfortable for the neck. We're going to go into some clamshell exercises here, so I'd like you to bend at the knees. We want to really set ourselves up with good form here, so we want the hips stacked, the knees stacked, the ankles stacked, toes are pointed. From here, we're going to bring the heels in toward the bum. We're going to open, lifting that top leg, and then close. Open and close. Now, really important here, you're not letting that top hip roll back. You're keeping the hips stacked, one on top of the other. So it's actually quite a small range of movement if you're doing this with good form. You can either have your hand here on the mat for support and also to remind yourself to keep some of that weight forward so you're not rolling back. Or you can place your hand on your gluteus medius muscle here to really make sure that you're contracting that muscle as you lift and as you lower the leg. Inhale to lower, exhale to lift. Keep squeezing those heels together. Good, really focusing on contracting those glutes as you lift and lower, working deep into the stabilizing muscles of the hips. Good, abs are engaged, neck is long and shoulders are down away from the ears. Good. Now, if you want to step it up from here, we're going to lift just the lower parts of the legs and carry on. Otherwise, keep those legs down on the floor. Abs are engaged. Inside of the feet are glued together. Let's do 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower down. Amazing work. Now from here, we're going to keep that bottom leg where it is, and I'm going to stretch the top leg out so it's in line with the torso. Abs are engaged here. I'm going to flex the foot. Good. Foot is flexed, lengthening out through the heel. Keeping that leg in line with the torso. Good. Leading up with the outside of the foot. Now I want you to really focus on contracting the belly button in toward the spine here as well. So you're working into your waistline as you Abduct that leg. Good. Lifting and lowering. Lift and lower. Keep that foot flexed. We've got 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nicely done. Now from here, we're going to bring the legs together. We're going to pick the legs up and bring them forward slightly on the mat. So we're in a gentle pike position. And now we're going to move into some leg circles. So we're going to bring the top leg up, keeping the hips stacked, keeping the legs parallel. Leg is at shoulder height. And we're going to start drawing circles in the air. Using your toe like a pencil in the air, pointing both toes, both sets of toes, so that lower leg is really stable as well. We're contracting the muscles in the top leg and the lower leg as we work deep into those hips. Glutes are working here too, as are thighs. If this gets too much, you can lower down for a rep and then pick it up and carry on. You might be feeling some cramping in the leg when you're doing this side lying leg work, cramping in the hips. That's totally normal. Good, and last one, hold, and now we're gonna reverse the direction of those circles. So circling backwards, lengthening through those toes. Toes are pointed, shoulders are relaxed. You've got this. Again, if you need to lower down for a moment and then pick that leg up again, that's perfectly fine. For 2, and 1, relax it down. Amazing. Now we're going to come over and do the other side. So I'd like you to get nice and comfortable on your side body, propping your head up on your hand or on your outstretched arm. We're bringing the knees together, stacking the hips, bringing the heels toward the bum, and gluing the inside of the feet together. Now we're opening and closing, coming into that clamshell. Make any little adjustments you need to. Make sure you've got that perfect form so you're not letting that top hip roll back. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth to lift. Every time you lift, I want you to remember to engage belly to spine. Good, it'll help with your form and also help you to strengthen your core at the same time, which is an extra added benefit. Good. Now, a lot of people find these side lying exercises to be quite difficult, especially if they don't normally do them. Lift up those legs if you want to step it up, otherwise keep them down. Because as we get older, all those little muscles that support the pelvis can become underused and weak, which is why a lot of older people have issues with hip pain. So it's important to keep those muscles strong and used. Good, lower that leg down, stretch the top leg out long. Flex the foot, make sure that top leg is in line with the torso, and then lift and lower. Good, really pulling belly to spine, working into the waistline and those glutes. All these muscles help to support the hips. Good, lift up and lower. Breathe out to lift up. Good, keeping that leg parallel with the floor, lengthening through that heel. Amazing. Keep that neck nice and long and relaxed. We've got 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower down. Bring the legs together, pick the feet up, hinging from the hips. We're in that gentle pike position. We're pulling belly to spine. Legs are squeezing, muscles are switched on, toes are pointed, and we're circling now. Circling forward. Drawing nice smooth circles in the air with that big toe. I quite often get a bit of a foot cramp here. It's also the flexing and the pointing of the toes. If you're not used to that, again, you're using different muscles that maybe tend to be underused. So it's always good to work those deep stabilizing muscles. Breathe through it. I know these are tough. Good. And last one, we're going to reverse direction with those circles. Really try to keep your torso still and stable here. You don't want to be rocking around. That's why we're engaging the core, squeezing the leg muscles, the bottom leg and the top leg, so that we're super stable here as we work those glutes and hips. Breathe through it, in through the nose and out through the mouth for 3 and 2 and 1. Lower down. Nicely done. Okay, now we're going to use our hands to come back up, and we're going to come into a kneeling position on the mat. So our knees, legs are about hip distance apart. From here, we're going to stretch the arms out long at shoulder height, and we're just going to lean back and then come forward. Lean back, engage the core, and really flex into your quads and your hips to lift. So you're coming back, not arching the spine, and coming forward. Leaning back as far as you can, switch on those quads, engage the belly to the spine and lift. So working into those hips, working into those thighs. Be really careful here not to arch the low back as you come back. So you're kind of coming back like one piece of steel, one flat surface, and then using those hips and quads to lift back up, pulling belly to spine. Inhale to lean back, exhale to come up. Nice and strong. We've got 4, 3, 2, and last 1. Nice work. Now from here, you can either be just sat down on your bottom like so, with your left leg bent and your right leg straight. Hands are down on the mat for support. Or if you need to, you can prop that block underneath your bum for a bit of a lift. Okay, so I'm pressing down onto the mat. I'm sitting up nice and tall. One vertebra stacked on top of the other. Chin is parallel with the mat. The left leg is bent. Right leg is straight out. We're going to lift that right leg and lower, maintaining a nice straight back and lower. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. So notice I'm not lifting my leg very high. It's only coming up a couple inches. I'm holding for a split second in the lift and then lowering down. Good work. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. So I want you to flex your thigh and work deep into those hip flexor muscles to get the lift. Lift, hold for a split second and lower. We've got 4, 3, these are much harder than they look, for 2, and final 1. Nice work. Now we're going to do the other side. So bending the right knee, sitting up nice and tall, stacking the vertebra. We're going to lift and lower. Lift and lower. So you already might be noticing some differences. Maybe on one side you have more mobility and strength than on the other. That's perfectly fine. That's why it's a good idea to move legs in isolation to notice where those imbalances exist and focus on evening them out over time. So for me, I'm noticing that this is much easier on my left side. So that's a bit of an indication to me that I need to spend some time really focusing on that right side. Good. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. We've got 4, 3, keep sitting up nice and tall, for 2, and final 1. Nice work. Now I'm going to remove the block, and you can take it with you to put behind your head if you would like to. Otherwise, you're going to put your head flat on the floor. I'm going to use it to support my head. So just place it under the head. Let your shoulders relax. Knees are bent. We're going to, again, continue to work those hip flexors. So I'm going to bring the right knee in toward the chest, stretch it in close, and then stretch the right leg up long, holding on behind the calf or the thigh. I'm going to bend that knee again, and then stretch and lengthen, stretching the hamstring. Last one, bend and lift. Now I'm going to release my hands, keeping that leg up. If it's too much with the leg straight, I want you to gently bend the knee. From here, we're going to draw some circles in the air. I'm going to circle the leg past the left knee, up and around, and pause at the start point, keeping your bum down on the floor. Circle and pause at the start point. Circle, sweep past the knee, down, around, and up, and pause. You can take a smaller range of movement if that circle's too big and you're losing control. Now I want you to have a look at that left knee. It should be really steady. So imagine you've got a glass of water on that left knee. You don't want to let it spill. Focusing on that pelvic stability. Last circle and hold. Now switch directions. We're going to circle down, around, and up, pausing at the start point. So you're taking the leg away from the body, sweeping past bent knee and pausing. You can place your hands on your hips here and really focus on keeping those hips really still and stable as you move that leg around in the hip socket. Good. We've got 3, 2, breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth, belly to spine. And last 1, and pause. Nice work. Now we're going to bring the left knee in, hug it in close. Inhale and exhale. Take a hold behind the calf or the thigh and stretch. Inhale, bend. Exhale, stretch and lengthen. Nice work. Last 1, bend and stretch and lengthen. Hold it there. Now sweep past the opposite knee and come up. Sweep past bent knee, circle around and come up. Keeping those hips really still and stable here. Working on that pelvic stability and core engagement as we strengthen those hip flexors, coming down, around, and up. Imagine that glass of water balancing on the right knee this time. Try not to let it spill. Good, and pause. Now opposite direction, sweep down, around, and up, and pause. Take the leg away from the body, sweep past bent knee, and pause at the start point. Good, drawing a nice circle in the air with a lot of control, pointing through those toes. Good, we've got 2. And last 1. Amazing work, nicely done. Use your hands to help you to come up into a seated position. Again, if you want to use your block or your perch under your bum, we're going to be stretching the legs out long. So from here, I've got my hands down on either side of the body supporting, sitting up really nice and tall. Both legs are stretched out long in front. I'm going to lift my right leg up, take it to the right side of the body, back to center and lower. Let's try that again. Lift the leg, bring it out to the side, back to center and lower. Good. Lift. Back to center and lower. Now as you come over to the right side, don't let your left leg come with you, or let your left bum cheek lift up. Good. Move slowly here. I know these are tough. Lift, bring it out to the side, over and in. Sitting up nice and tall, checking your posture. Abs are engaged. We've got 2 more. And last one. And lower down. Amazing. Now I'm going to switch sides so I've got space. You can stay facing in the same direction if you have space for your left leg to move. Stretching those legs out nice and long, starting off with that really good posture. Hands are down by your side. Lift that left leg, bring it out to the side, over and down. Lift, come out to the side, over and down. Good. Lift it up, over, back in, and lower down. Nice work. Check that posture every now and then. Make sure you're not starting to slump. Good. Reset as often as you need to. Chin is parallel with the floor here. We've got 2 more. Lift, take it out to the side, and lower. Lift, over, in, and down. Nice work. Now from here, I'm going to get rid of my block because I no longer need it. And we're gonna get into position for bridge. So I'd like you to lower down to the floor, 1 vertebra at a time. Take your hands on either side of the body. Legs are hip distance apart. Let's position our heels so they're below our knees. From here, we've got that little bit of space between the low back and the mat. I'd like you to tilt your pelvis back, flattening that gap, and then peel your tailbone, peel your mid-back up off the mat, and hold. Lower, and tilt that pelvis back and lift, pressing up through the heels. Lower, tilt that pelvis back, flatten the back, and then peel yourself up off the floor, keeping those legs parallel. Good. Now as you come up, I want you to really engage your core, pulling the belly button in toward the spine, and only come up as far as you can that you're creating a nice flat surface. So you don't want to be arching here. You want to be keeping that tailbone tucked, protecting the low back as you lift those hips, engaging the back body, engaging the core, and then lower down. Last one, we're going to come up, and from here, ensure that your tailbone is tucked. We're going to take the knees wide, abducting the knees, and then bring them back to parallel. Widen them, coming onto the outside edges of the feet, and then back to parallel. Widen, back to parallel. Good. We've got 10, 9, squeeze the glutes and thighs for 8, 7, 6, keep those hips elevated and tailbone tucked for 5, and 4, last 3, abs in for 2, and final 1. Amazing work. Lower all the way down to the mat. Now from here, we're gonna get into those hip stretches. We're gonna cool it down. So I'd like you to cross your right leg over your left, and just splay that right knee out to the side. You can gently push it away from you with your palm. This might be a deep enough stretch for you right here. Or if you want to deepen it further, you can bring the left foot up off the floor, and even further, take your hands behind your left thigh interlaced and just hug that left knee in toward the chest. So we're going to stretch it out here. I want you to relax your shoulders and really focus on pressing your low back down into the mat. So you're stretching the low back as well. You can gently press your right elbow into the inner right thigh to open up that hip a little bit more. Breathe through it, breathing in through the nose. And as you exhale, hug that knee in a little bit closer towards you, deepening the stretch. for 5, for 4, for 3, and 2, and 1. Release it. Nicely done. Now let's cross the left leg over the right, pushing that right knee or that left knee so it's open further, either holding it here or picking up that right foot, or deepening it by taking the hand behind the right thigh and hugging that right knee in towards you. Stretching out the glutes, opening in the hips, and pressing the low back into the mat so we're stretching the low back at the same time. Breathing into it. Breathe in through the nose. And as you exhale, hug that knee in a little bit closer towards you for 5, and 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nicely done. Now from here, bend both knees and take a hold. You might need to lift up for a moment. Take a hold of the outside of the feet, and we're just going to flatten the feet and pull ourselves into happy baby here. So you can really try to challenge yourself by pressing your tailbone down onto the floor again, so you're really stretching out the low back at the same time. Drawing, gently pulling, but not tugging those knees in toward the armpits. Really opening up in the hip here. You might want to experiment with this. Sometimes it feels good to bring the soles of the feet together as well. I'm going to pull them into you. Or maybe you're just holding in classic happy baby. Just stretching into those tight areas. Breathing into it, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Nice work. I'm going to put my legs together. We're going to take our hands behind our thighs and roll yourself up to a seated position. From here, we're going to come down into an all fours. We're going to step the right foot between the hands and just really straighten out that left leg behind you. Sitting up, interlacing the hands and taking them on the right thigh. Shoulders are down, spine is nice and long, chin is parallel with the floor. We're just going to stretch out that left hip flexor, so gently push that left hip forward, feeling the nice deep stretch into that hip flexor and into that thigh on the left side. Sink a little bit more deeply into your stretch as you breathe out. One more breath here, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Nice work. Place your hands down on the mat. Right knee comes down, left foot comes between the hands. Set yourself up. Make sure that those legs are tracking in alignment with the hips. Interlace the hands on the left thigh. Sitting up nice and tall here and just gently pushing forward with that right hip. Feeling the stretch in the right hip flexor, melting those shoulders down and back. Maybe sinking a little bit more deeply into your stretch. Last breath. Breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. Amazing. Use your hands to help you. Come down into a seated position. I'm going to place the soles of my feet together, sitting up nice and tall, just letting the knees splay out to the side. You can either keep your hands where they are, or you can gently apply a little bit of pressure to your knees, deepening the stretch. We're just going to gently hinge forward, drawing the knees down toward the mat, really butterflying the lower body. As we breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. For 3 and 2 and 1. Bring yourself up. You can either kneel or sit cross-legged. We're gonna lift the shoulders and roll them down and back. Lift those shoulders up and roll them down and back, melting away tension in those shoulders and in that upper back. Good. And last one. And we are done. I hope you enjoyed that hip mobilizing, strengthening, and stretching routine. I hope it made you feel better, and I hope you feel stronger for it. I really look forward to moving again with you next time. Enjoy the rest of your day.